Selamat pagi. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Koji Ishihara from Mitsubishi Corporation. Today, thank you for inviting me, and thank you for all for coming. I would be glad to have such an excellent opportunity to talk about palm oil outlook in Japan. Before my presentation, let me introduce myself. I joined Mitsubishi Corporation in 2011. Since then, I have belonged to oil and fat business, and I became a palm oil trader from April 2016. Today, I would like to talk about my understanding about the trend of palm oil market in Japan, especially for food, Oleo-chemicals, and energy market, and would like to share its outlook. Okay, let's move to my presentation. Can you read this? This is Japanese kanji. Do you know what does it mean? This kanji stands for 1,000. 1,000. Do you know? Do you imagine what does it mean? I guess a lot of people think 1,000 may be the number of launched goods that palm oil is used. It was so close. 1,000 is not the number of goods in all categories, but just for one category. Actually, for instant noodle, more than 1,500 items in 1 year are launched in 1 year. I think it, furthermore, for packed bread, only one company launched more than 1,000 new items in 1 year by only one manufacturer. I think it is an unbelievable number because it means 3 instant noodles and 3 packed bread is launched every day. From my point of view, convenience store contributed for such a fast product development. Next page shows revenue and number of outlets of convenience store. Currently, convenience stores have expanded rapidly. For these 10 years, the number of outlets has increased 15,000 outlets from 43,000 to 58,000. And their revenue has risen 4.3 trillion Japanese yen from 7.5 trillion to 11.8 trillion. We used to go supermarket or hypermarket usually, but currently we changed to use convenience store. In this circumstance, convenience store decided to launch a lot of new items every month, every week, so that they can keep attractive consumers' interest. In result, consumer can find a new item every time they go convenience store. Especially, convenience store has expanded their private brand goods, so they can develop a new product by their own pace. As I explained, a lot of new goods are launched every year. Especially, there are a variety of bakery like bread, cookies, and pastries. That kind of bakery use processed oils like margarine. Palm oil have cost competitiveness and easy to use for solid processed oils. So demand for palm oil would be stable or may increase. Let's move on to the next page. This page shows a series of oil supply situation in Japan. Oil production was 1.3 million tons in 1966. In 1988, it became 3 million tons and have kept about 3 million tons till now. Currently, soybean oil, canola oil, and palm oil are main oil and fats in Japan. These 3 oils have about 70% share of consumption. Soybean oil keeps same volume or slight decrease, but canola oil and palm oil have increased. Just my personal assumption, but Japanese prefer canola taste. We Japanese can easily get fresh vegetable and seafood. In addition, we have 4 seasons, and we can enjoy different food for each season. In order to enjoy seasonal food itself, Japanese prefer lighter taste for flavoring. So canola oil with lighter taste is popular. Regarding palm oil, It increased in early 1990s. Palm oil was imported as a replacement of decreasing fish oil. In the old days, we sourced almost 100% oil domestically. For example, soybean oil, corn oil, rice oil, animal fats. But in early 1990s, the number of sardines around Japan was decreased, and production of fish oil also decreased. We need to import other oil and fats. In that situation, we might be looking for oils which have price competitiveness and enough supplyability. Also, I think character of palm oil is one of the reasons to increase palm oil usage. It has good stability for frying purpose. Palm oil is also often used to adjust melting point. This is just some reason to use palm oil, but actually we come to use palm oil more and more. This page shows oil and fats demand in Japan. Household and HoReCa's demand has decreased, but processed oil has increased. As for animal fats, edible demand has shifted to non-edible or like feed purpose. I would like to share my analysis for each demand. Regarding household, it has decreased because we have less time to cook at home. Currently, women come to work full-time, and the number of people who live alone has increased. So most of us go to restaurant and deli or buy processed food in supermarket or convenience store instead of cooking at home. But this sector has less impact to palm oil consumption because palm oil isn't used for household in Japan. We mainly consume liquid oil like soybean oil and canola oil for daily cooking use. Regarding HoReCa, demand has decreased as well. We come to use oils which is hardly deteriorated even in heating condition. The kind of oils contains material to prevent oil from deterioration. It is eco-friendly technology because oil can be used longer days. Meanwhile, demand for processed food has increased. As I guess increasing the number of outlets of convenience store may contribute. As of now, about 58,000 outlets are in Japan. We can buy prepared food or processed food such as rice bowl, bento, or bread, or instant noodle. Currently, in order to make outlet attractive, convenience stores are launching new goods in rapidly. So total demand of processed oil has increased. As for non-edible, we use vegetable oils for industrial purpose or feed purpose. Currently, demand as raw material of biodiesel has increased. Our main user is foreign manufacturer, so we export vegetable oil and animal fats. Regarding animal fats, demand for lard is stable, but for tallow decreased. Tallow is used mainly for curry, fried potato, and soap. Demand for curry is replacing by vegetable oils, including palm oil. For fried potato is decreased due to decrease of outlet of hamburger chain, but currently a number of outlets is recovering. The next page is market trend for food. To consider market trend, we need to understand recent Japanese society's movement. I think it is common trend with other countries, but a lot of women have made advance into society. In addition, population is centralized in urban area. In result, I think family will choose to restaurant or to buy home meal replacement instead of cooking at home. Other trend is seeking for beauty and health. Before I explain about these topics, let me explain about volume of consumer bottle. For these 10 years, total sales volume is stable, only 5% increase. We used to use canola oil and soybean oil mainly for cooking, but usage of olive oil and sesame oil has increased. This is because we found some oils like olive oil and sesame oils have good function for human health. Actually, 4 or 5 years ago, olive oil was introduced from TB. Once then, surprisingly, olive oil sold tremendously. We came to recognize oleic acid and omega-3 contributes to decrease of cholesterol. We found linseed and perilla oil have similar function and demand for those oils increased as well. And also, antioxidants like sesamin included in sesame oil and gamma oryzanol in rice oil are good ingredients for health. We recognize these oils can make human liver healthier. So, sales amount of olive oil is increased from 30 billion in 2007 to 36 billion Japanese yen in 2017. And also, total sales amount of linseed oil, perilla oil, sesame oil, and rice oil also increased from 30 billion Japanese yen to 46 billion Japanese yen. From next slide, I explain about market trend of palm oil. In order to graph the trend of palm oil demand, I would like to check the demand of major end products which is used palm oil. In this time, I selected 2 products, instant noodle and bakery. First, instant noodle. In early 1970s, cup noodle created a new demand and total demand of instant noodle has expanded. In current market, more than 1,000 new products are launched per year, but a long seller product has much share. Top 10 products have more than 25% market share, so I assume consumption has been stable. Rather, currently it has increased slightly because of increasing the single-person household, as I said earlier. Second, bakery and confectionery has also increased slightly because we come to change a source of carbohydrate from rice to bread, especially, I guess, at breakfast. Japanese traditional breakfast is rice, side dish, and miso soup. I guess it takes at least 30 minutes to prepare. But in case of bread, if you have a toaster, you can spend only 3 minutes. It is very easy for working man and woman. In addition, thanks to convenience store, we can buy fresh bakery all the day. There are a lot of varieties of bread, so we can eat different taste bread every day. Okay, let's move on to the next topics, Oleo-chemicals. Oleo-chemicals is used for soap, shampoo, and detergent. Manufacturers of these kind of products tend to select oleo-chemicals instead of petrochemicals because of high biodegradability. It means eco-friendly. In Japan, demand for soap, shampoo, and detergent has been stable, but in order to grasp the demand for palm oil and palm kernel oil, we had better to check in the movement of domestic oleo-chemical manufacturer. I understand primary processing product of oleo-chemical is fatty acid. Fatty acid plants use palm oil, palm kernel oil, tallow, and used cooking oil as raw material in Japan. According to statistics of Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, production of fatty acid in Japan decreased in 2009. After Lehman Brothers bankruptcy, domestic manufacturers decreased their production, and buyers started to import fatty acid. This trend has lasted as of now, so regretfully, it means our import volume of palm oil, palm kernel oil for oleo-chemical may have decreased. Last category is energy. Now, please look at this graph. This graph shows import volume of palm stearin. It used to be lower than 40,000 tons per year, but after 2014, it has increased drastically. In 2017, consumption importing volume about 120,000 tons. Why is palm stearin imported so much? Surprisingly, there is only one new demand for energy, As you know, Japan rely energy source like coal and LNG on foreign country. Energy self-sufficient rate is only 6%. Japanese government implemented feed-in tariff so that we can produce more energy from domestic raw material. One of feed-in tariff applied business is power plant, which use palm stearin as fuel. Thanks to them, palm stearin import volume has increased from 2014. Government had already approved a lot of similar projects, so there is possibility to increase palm stearin consumption in Japan more and more. But from last year, government and some experts have been discussing if this business would be really sustainable. Unfortunately, palm plantation has still been improving its environmental and labor status, though, of course, I know these issues are improving thanks to efforts by sustainable teams of industry players. In that situation, government proposed a new rule. According to it, a power plant must source RSPO, IP, or SG-grade palm stearin as raw material. This is my assumption, but it is difficult for power plant to source enough IP or SG palm stearin. And also, IP or SG palm stearin is much expensive compared with conventional palm stearin. I am concerning if it would be too expensive to keep business. This is the conclusion slide. According to my analysis, palm oil consumption for food is slight increase. For Oleo-chemical, it's slight decrease. For energy, it would be difficult to increase. As a whole, it would be stable or increase slightly. And palm kernel oil for food is recovering, but for Oleo-chemicals, it's slight decrease. So total demand for palm kernel oil may be slight decrease. This is not good information for Malaysian supplier because currently Japan started to buy palm oil and palm kernel oil from Indonesia supplier. As I said, demand for palm kernel oil in Japan wouldn't be prospective, but a new movement is coming just around the corner. Sustainability. This movement is coming from society side and retail side. And until 2016, a lot of companies had interest about RSPO. Honestly speaking, I explained about RSPO many times, but regretfully, there was no big movement. But now, Tokyo Olympic Organizing Committee published the procurement guideline, including palm oil. According to it, we must use certified palm oil. And RSPO, MSPO, and ISPO are qualified oils. This policy is applied only for Olympic Village just now, but this policy will be a recommendation of palm oil sourcing in Japan from 2020 onward. At the same time, some big companies became a member of RSPO and declared their policy about sourcing certified palm oil. For example, Ajinomoto declared to achieve 100% certified oil sourcing by 2020 for Japan. And Aeon, this is a big retailer, also declared to achieve 100% certified oil sourcing for their private brand goods by 2020. And some other companies also declared to start to source certified palm oil partly. This is just my guess, but they may buy book and claim credit first, and then they may partly source mass balance grade by 2020. And with regards to retail side, do you know the Consumer Goods Forum? It is the network including worldwide retailer and manufacturer. It starts to discuss about sustainability. For retailer, sustainability is very, very important topics because if their products are not sustainable, it means they might become unable to sell that products in some other days. Recently, they focus on sustainability of palm oil. And once a big retailer declared to use certified palm oil, This effect would spread to many manufacturers because big retailer usually has PB, private brand. And manufacturers who produce private brand goods need to follow a retailer's policy. And this movement is actually coming. In that situation, leading company would move fast and ask to supplier, please supply qualified palm oil and palm kernel oil. And next, number 2 and number 3 company would follow that. I believe demand for certified oil may increase in near future. Finally, I think Japanese palm oil demand would be stable, but we may replace conventional palm oil to sustainable palm oil. So I believe preparation to trade sustainability oil will be important. Thank you for your listening.